All right, thank you. Well, I want to be respectful of everyone's time. I want to thank everybody for joining us this evening. Welcome. My name is David Lovato, Public Communications Specialist with VTA. And tonight, we are here to talk about the US 101 State Route 25 Interchange Phase 1 project. Just to let everybody know that this presentation is being recorded by VTA to post on our project webpage, as well as to share with our project subscribers after this meeting. This presentation is being simultaneously translated in Spanish as well. And to provide instruction on how to listen to this presentation in Spanish is Patty Black. Patty?
Yes, thank you, David. I am Patty Black of International Contact, your language interpretation host for today. Some of our participants during today's event have limited English proficiency. We already created the language channels for the Spanish participants. It is very important for English participants and English panelists to select the EN channel where the main presentation will be given. To go there, select the world icon on your taskbar and click on the EN or English that you will see under that icon. If you're using a smartphone, you will find it on the 3 dots on the corner of your screen. You go to the EN channel. There you can find the different language channels and you select the English. So everyone, please go to the EN channel. In case somebody is in the wrong channel right now, I'm gonna go there and let them know right now. Give me a moment. If you are in this channel and you speak English, you are in the wrong channel. You need to go to the world icon and select EN under the world icon to go to the English presentation. So everybody, let's go there to the English channel. Now, Clara, who is our Spanish interpreter, will give the instructions to all the participants that speak Spanish that don't know how to go to the Spanish channel. Go ahead, Clara. Thank you very much, Clara. And everybody who speaks English, stay please here in the English channel. We ask all of our panelists not to speak fast so the interpreters can keep up with you. And if anyone has any questions, please ask them at the appropriate time or ask them to David, who is our main host. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Patty. Thank you, Clara. And now I'd like to take a moment to pass over the presentation to our Community Outreach Supervisor, Kathleen Podrasky. Kathleen?
Thank you, David. Good evening, I'm Kathleen Podrasky. I'm a supervisor in VTA's Community Outreach and Public Engagement Group. Thank you for attending this evening's community meeting. This has been a difficult couple of weeks for VTA staff and for many community members in Gilroy. The attack 2 weeks ago at VTA's Guadalupe's light rail yard has broken our hearts. And this horrific tragedy has caused us to lose 9 members of VTA's family, including Gilroy resident Adrian Beleza. Adrian was one of our light rail operators. He was laid to rest on Monday. I haven't the words to convey the immense pain we are all feeling right now, especially to Adrian's family and the families of the 8 other victims. I'm here to express our condolences to his family and to all the families, and to all of you who had the privilege of knowing Adrian and any of the other victims, just how deeply we all feel the grief together. Before we move forward this evening, if we could all take a few moments of silence. Thank you. We are challenged right now to balance our grief with the need to share information with you. This evening, we are going to discuss a highway project. There will be an opportunity to ask questions. We respectfully ask that your questions remain focused on the project and on the topic of this highway project. Questions about VTA service will be referred to VTA customer service, and we will provide your contact in the Q&A for you. I'm turning this back over to David. Thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you, Kathleen. Before we get started, I just want to recognize that we have Mayor Marie Blankley with the City of Gilroy joining us, as well as the Mayor of Hollister, Ignacio Velasquez. Thank you for joining us. We look forward to answering questions after this presentation with our community as we move forward with this project. So I just want to give a quick introduction of how we can participate and how we can interact as far as with our virtual audience. We do ask that participants treat each other with kindness, respect, and consideration throughout this presentation. We ask that you raise your hand during the Q&A session. I know here it says type your questions, but unfortunately we're having technical issues, and that you probably don't see a Q&A type section at the bottom of your screen. If you're joining us with Zoom, we do apologize. Normally that is there, but for some reason, one button didn't get clicked for this meeting. So to interact as far as Q&A when we get there, we do ask the participants raise their hand and auditorily give their comments or questions, and they will be recorded at the end of the session. If you're not comfortable asking the questions, you can always email them to us and they'll get recorded, and we'll be able to respond to you in a timely manner. This goes for our panelists as well as our audience, that we ask you to mute your audio when you're not speaking. You're going to raise your hand if you'd like to speak during the Q&A, and then lower it. And if you forget to lower your hand, I'll happily do that for you. VTA will not tolerate demeaning, discriminatory, or harassing behavior in speech. VTA will remove participants who refuse to adhere to the expected code of conduct. So how you can participate, like I said, fortunately, this time around, the Q&A button is not there. We'll have to figure out why and make sure that it's there for our next meeting on the subject. But what you can do when we get to the Q&A session after the presentation is you would click the hand icon at the bottom of the bar. That'll indicate that you want to ask a question or make a comment to get recorded for this project. The host, myself, or Kathleen Podrasky, will send an unmute request. You click the unmute, and then you'll be able to speak. And then we just ask that you mute yourself after you're done asking your question or providing your comment. And if you forget, we'll happily do that for you. If you are joining us through dial-in option, if you want to raise your hand, you just need to press *9 to raise your hand. And again, we'll unmute you, you speak, and then we'll mute you. So if you joined us through your phone, you can still participate by raising your hand. Just dial *9. And right now, I just want to go through our agenda for tonight. I will be providing you a quick little VTA 101, just about VTA, why not only do we provide transit, but we provide projects like this. Carson Adam and Shadi Shazbek will give you a large project overview of the US 101 widening project. Carson will then go into detail about the US 101 State Route 25 Interchange Phase 1. We'll get a quick environmental update from Ann Kalnin. And then Carson will also provide a project schedule, and then I will follow up with outreach and how you as an audience can stay engaged and updated throughout this project. All right, so a little bit about VTA. VTA is an independent special district, and we are governed by a board of directors. VTA has 12 member boards that are made up of local city and county elected holders. We have 5 board advisory committees made up of members of the public that make recommendations to our board, and 5 policy advisory boards also that make recommendations to our board. VTA's core transit services are buses, light rail, paratransit service for our seniors and those with disabilities. VTA constructs transit facilities and projects. VTA also has a transit-oriented development program. VTA is also responsible for congestion management throughout the county, which is specifically why we're here this evening. VTA funds and builds highway interchange projects. We partner with Caltrans, the county, cities within the county. They also, and this also includes highway interchange, pedestrian, bicycle improvement projects. Again, this is why we're here today to talk about this interchange project. And VTA's community outreach and public engagement team, which I have the pleasure to be a part of, we serve as the community's liaison. We are the bridge between our project managers and our construction teams to you, the community. We provide informational presentations to the public like we're doing tonight. We inform the public about construction projects, impacts, and updates. And we engage in the public as far as any kind of studies or projects. And now with that, I'm actually going to turn our virtual mic over to Carson Adam, the VTA project manager, who's going to be overseeing this entire project, talk to you about the US 101 winding project between Monterey Road and State Route 25.
Thanks, David. So let me see if I can share my screen here. Okay. So hopefully you can see that there. So good evening. As David mentioned, I'm Carson Adam, VTA project manager for the 10125 interchange project. I will be co-presenting this section for the US 101 widening project with Shadi Shazbek. And then I'll return later to present the 10125 interchange phase 1 project. So the last outreach that VTA did for the 101 widening project was back in 2013. The limits for this project along US 101 stretch at the north end from the Monterey Road interchange south down 101 to State Route 129. The ultimate 10125 interchange configuration was also included as part of this bigger 101 widening project. So this US 101 widening project was approved by Caltrans in 2013 after the environmental impact report, or EIR, was approved by VTA. And Ann will be discussing more on the environmental section later. So this ultimate 10125 interchange configuration will be discussed on the next slide by consultant project manager Shadi Shazbek. And then in the next series of slides after that, I will come back to present the phase 1 project for the 10125 project interchange that will only build a portion of the ultimate 10125 interchange. So with that, I'll hand it off to Shadi.
Thanks, Carson. Good evening, everyone. Thanks for joining us. My name is Shadi Shazbek. I'm with Kimley Horn and Associates. We're the consultant on the project. As Carson mentioned, the original project created environmentally in 2013 involves upgrading 101 from its existing 4-lane configuration to a 6-lane freeway with closing all the driveways along the existing 101 and reconnecting the parcels to a system of frontage roads to maintain access to all parcels on both sides. The project also involves reconstructing, which what you see on the lower left corner, to 101, building a bridge across 101 to carry State Route 25, and then also constructing a new Santa Teresa Boulevard extension, and therefore connecting Santa Teresa Boulevard from its current terminus at Castro Valley Road to 101. The project also involved constructing several bridges. What you see on red on this exhibit are bridge structures. The two that Karsten is pointing to were flood bridges that allows the water, flood water to flow through the area as it does today, but without flooding the freeways. And also a new bridge across the Union Pacific Railroad tracks, and therefore taking 25 over the tracks and not having to cross the tracks. And ultimately 25 would connect back to existing at Bloomfield Avenue. The system also would be allowing for bicycle travel in both in the east-west direction and in the north-south direction, parallel to 101. Turn back over to you, Karsten.
Okay, thanks, Shadi. Okay, so the next series of slides, we'll talk specifically about the 10125 Interchange Phase 1 project. That will, as I mentioned, build only a portion of the ultimate 10125 interchange that Shadi just described. So the project is being phased based on funding, as there is just not enough money available to construct the entire US 101 widening and the ultimate 10125 interchange as a single project. So this slide provides orientation about where the 10125 interchange is located. As most of you probably know, it's in southern Santa Clara County, just south of the city of Gilroy city limits. The main highways of US 101, State Route 25, and State Route 152 are highlighted in yellow, just for easy reference and orientation. So this slide zooms into the 10125 interchange area. With 101, US 101 running from the south, which is on the left side, to the right side, which is north, as indicated by the north arrow in the upper left-hand side of the screen. The rest of the slides that follow this will generally be in the same orientation, with 101 going from left to right. So the existing 10125 interchange is somewhat outdated. It was originally constructed in 1988 as just a temporary project to prevent left turns across US 101 in this area. But due to increasing traffic demands and the relatively short length of the southbound 101 off-ramp, you can see today that traffic backs up from this off-ramp back onto the US 101 main line during peak travel times in the afternoon. The interchange ramps also have higher than average accident rates compared to statewide collision rates. So these are, you can see these are some of the needs for the project. So the four main project objectives for the 10125 Interchange Phase 1 are bulleted on this slide and are also listed on the project fact sheet available on the VTA project website. So the first two bulleted objectives have to do with improving connectivity and traffic operations between US 101 and State Route 25. And this will be done with improved ramp storage and signalized intersections where the ramps meet at 25. The third objective is to enhance safety at the 10125 interchange area, particularly in the southbound US 101 direction by reducing those backups onto the main line from the southbound off-ramp. Safety will also be enhanced through improved ramp alignments that improve exits and entrances to US 101 and reduce conflict points, primarily with driveways in the area. The final objective is to support future improvements at the 10125 interchange and the connecting highways. So the phase 1 project lays the groundwork for constructing the ultimate 10125 interchange, as well as the planned US 101 and State Route 25 widening projects, and also further in the future, the realignment of State Route 152. So this slide shows the overall 10125 interchange phase 1 project limits. So along 101, US 101, the main limits start just south of the existing interchange ramps and go to the north, just north of Castro Valley Road, shown here. Further to the north, the project also closes off access between Mesa Road and US 101. Along State Route 25, the limits are essentially from the southbound 101 ramps to just west of the Union Pacific Railroad, where State Route 25 comes back down to existing grade elevation and conforms with the existing State Route 25. So the overall total phase 1 project cost is approximately $100 million, and it will take about 2.5 years to construct the entire project. The project schedule is discussed later in this presentation. So the next series of slides will zoom in closer to the project to show more detail. So the project details are divided into 3 main regions, as will be shown by the yellow ovals that appear in the following order. So first up, we have the southbound ramps area. And then after that, I'll discuss the southbound off-ramp itself. And then finally, the slide after that, we'll talk about the details of the northbound ramps area. So the light blue color that you see along US 101 and State Route 25, those just represent the main lines for those roadways. The green color represents the ramps. The red color represents the new bridge structures. And the orange colors represent essentially new driveways and local access connections. So zooming into the first area here, which is the southbound ramps. You can see here the proposed southbound ramps and State Route 25 intersection is quite a bit larger than the existing intersection that's just to the south of there. The existing southbound ramp that comes off of 101, today it has a free flow. There's nothing stopping vehicles from going through here and then either going south 101 or onto State Route 25. And today, the only control of this intersection is a stop sign for westbound State Route 25 before they turn to the southbound on-ramp to 101. So you'll see the traffic signal icon here that represents that this new intersection will be signalized. So the proposed State Route 25 overcrossing, shown in red here, will be wide enough to accommodate 4 lanes total, but just for this phase 1 project, westbound State Route 25 will only be striped as a single lane, where it can make a left turn onto the southbound 101 on-ramp. That's just due to lower traffic volumes. It doesn't require both lanes. Also on State Route 25, it's kind of hard to see, but on both sides, they're going to be striped bicycle lanes. And a signal will be provided for bicyclists to cross this intersection, as well as enhanced bicycle striping in here. So the westbound State Route 25 bicycle lane, as it does today, bicyclists would go along and cross over the ramps, and they would be allowed to go back onto southbound 101 as they do today. But the new thing with this project is that westbound State Route 25 bike lane will also be able to access a new two-way bike path that will be provided along parallel to the southbound off-ramp, and I'll talk about that in another slide. So both the US 101 southbound ramps will have 2 lanes for the off-ramp, and then for the on-ramp, you'll see it's 2 lanes, but one of those lanes will be for carpool and HOV access, and there'll be ramp metering there. So now moving on to the southbound 101 off-ramp. As you can see, it's a pretty long ramp. It's a little over 2,000 feet long, which is quite a bit longer than the existing southbound 101 off-ramp, which is less than 1,000 feet. So this will provide quite a bit of area for cars to stack up and get them off the main line. So the proposed southbound off-ramp will exit as only a single lane, as it does today, but then it'll widen out to the double lane there shortly thereafter. So the two-way separated bike path that I mentioned in the previous slide, you can see here, it's shown in purple. It'll separate from the ramp and provide bicycle access. So bicyclists will be able to go down Santa Teresa Boulevard, down Castro Valley Road here, and then connect onto the separated bike path and access the State Route 25, 101. And likewise, bicyclists go back the other way. So the vehicle access that currently exists between Castro Valley Road and US 101 will be closed, since the southbound off-ramp exits right there. We can't have that conflict. It just wouldn't be safe for vehicles to try to get in right where cars are exiting 101. Okay, so moving into the final area of detail. This is for the northbound ramps from 101 to State Route 25. These ramps actually will have a fairly similar configuration to the existing ramps. They'll just be further to the north. And you can't actually see the existing northbound ramps because they're right underneath this proposed State Route 25 alignment, but they're under there. So the northbound off-ramp, however, will have a much longer deceleration length for vehicles exiting 101, and that will allow vehicles to slow down before they get to the first curve there. So that's definitely a significant increase over existing. These northbound ramps will also have a number of other safety improvements, including getting rid of the existing driveway access that they're now. There'll be no driveway access around here. There'll be new lighting provided. And between the off-ramp and the on-ramp, there'll be a physical barrier separation between the two of them. So as with the southbound ramps intersection, this proposed intersection for the northbound ramps will be signalized as well. So as presented previously, access between Mesa Road and US 101 would be closed by providing a cul-de-sac, as shown in the slide here. So because both Castro Valley Road and Mesa Road would have their access closed at 101, traffic on Santa Teresa Boulevard that currently uses those today would basically be rerouted to the north, as shown by the blue arrows. They would go up Thomas Road, Luchesa, and then Monterey Road to get onto the southbound 101 on-ramp. And then from there, they would be able to access 101 southbound as they do today from those 2 points. So the ultimate 101-25 interchange will improve this access by providing the Santa Teresa extension directly from Castro Valley Road to the 101-25 interchange. And I'm actually going to show that in the next slide here. So this proposed Santa Teresa extension is shown clouded red, just so you can see where it is exactly. So as mentioned earlier, it essentially connects Santa Teresa Boulevard around Castro Valley Road directly to the 101-25 interchange. So again, this won't be part of the phase 1 project because there's not sufficient funding for it. But VTA is exploring ways to accelerate the Santa Teresa extension by actively seeking funding from federal grants to develop and implement this project. If funding is secured, the environmental clearance phase for the Santa Teresa extension could potentially begin in 2022, and then thereby be followed by the design phase. So the 10125 Interchange Phase 1 project does provide a number of bicycle enhancements through the interchange, including the previously mentioned separated two-way bike path along the southbound 101 off-ramp, which as I mentioned, provides connection between Santa Teresa Boulevard, Castrobi Road, and the 10125 interchange. So today, bicyclists are allowed to ride in the shoulder of US 101 as there are no nearby alternative routes for bicyclists. So by providing this two-way separated bike path along the southbound off-ramp, bicyclists traveling westbound on State Route 25, today, instead of them having to get onto the on-ramp and go on the northbound 101 shoulder, they would instead be allowed to travel up and over 101 and then connect to this new separated bike path and then continue up to Castrobi Road and Santa Teresa Boulevard. Likewise, today bicyclists are allowed to ride on the shoulder of 101 in the southbound direction as well. So instead of riding to this section of 101 southbound, bicyclists would be able to exit near the off-ramp and connect to this separated path and basically bypass the section of 101 and then get back on south of the interchange. So striped bicycle lanes, intersection improvements, green striping for bike conflict areas, bike lane signage, and wayfinding sign for bikes would all be provided by this Phase 1 project. And I think that's it for now for me. Turn it over to Ann to talk about the environmental section.
Okay, thank you, Karsten. Good evening, everyone. My name is Ann Calnan. I am the VTA Environmental Programs Manager. As previously mentioned, the environmental impact report for the ultimate 101 widening project, which includes reconstructing the entire 10125 interchange, the Santa Teresa connection, and many other project features, was approved by the VTA Board of Directors in 2013. In the EIR, we stated that the ultimate project would likely be completed in phases due to funding constraints. Fast forward to today. The purpose of the EIR addendum is to address any design changes to the previously approved project and to determine if the conclusions in the EIR remain valid, applicable to the first phase. As part of the addendum, all environmental topical areas are reviewed with a focus on noise, biological resources, cultural resources, flooding, and aesthetics, such as the removal and replacement of trees. Based on the analysis to date, the Phase 1 project is not anticipated to result in any new significant environmental impacts or an increase in the severity of previously identified impacts disclosed in the 2013 EIR. Any mitigation measures in the EIR that are applicable to the Phase 1 project will be implemented. The addendum will be available on the VTA project website when completed, and it will be subject to the VTA Board of Directors approval. And the anticipated timeframe for approval is late 2021. That's it for environmental, for now.
Thank you, Ann. And we're going to turn the mic back over to Karsten to give us a brief overview of what that project schedule is going to look like. Karsten?
Thanks, David. I think I'm muted. Yeah. Okay. So the 10125 interchange Phase 1 project is currently in the design and environmental addendum phase, as Ann just mentioned. So the vertical dashed line that you see represents where we are today, which is June 2021. So the project successfully received SB1 grant funding for both design and construction. So once the design and the right-of-way processes are complete, construction is anticipated to begin in probably late summer of 2023 and then wrap up in early 2026. That's all I have for the schedule.
Thank you, Carson. Now to wrap up this presentation, briefly just going over community outreach and how we can, as an audience, stay engaged. So most importantly, we want our folks to subscribe to project updates. Best way to do that is to visit the project webpage at bta.org/SR25. On the right column, you'll see a subscribe for updates option, to which you'll enter your email, click subscribe, and then in your email inbox, you will see a confirmation to subscribe. And it's important you do that because right now we're having this meeting to talk about this project, but we've got a ways to go. We have to finalize the design itself. We want to make sure that you're aware of when that's completed. An addendum that's going to be going out, we'd like you to be aware of. And then most importantly, when this project moves to construction phase and we're looking at the construction starting, we want everybody to come back. We want to be able to talk to you in detail what that construction is going to look like and how that might impact your commute, the noises it might make to businesses in the area. So it's important that you subscribe if you have not done so already. I encourage you to do that immediately after this presentation. And I believe we said it in the beginning, but I'll remind how to reach out to us if you have questions about specifically this project. You can reach out to the Community Outreach Department. Our phone number, 408-321-7575. Our email is community.outreach@bta.org. Again, all this information is also on the project webpage. We encourage you to visit so you can subscribe. If you have any other VTA-related questions not related to this project, we encourage you to reach out to our customer service line, which we'll make also available to you. And again, this entire presentation is going to be available for viewing on the project webpage and sent out to our subscribers as well. And that ends this presentation. It's a lot to digest, and we are available as panelists to answer any questions. I do apologize in advance. And typically, we have a Q&A section where people can type in their questions, but for some reason, we couldn't figure out why that option wasn't available to us. So we're actually going to go now to our audience. You can select the hand button to raise your hand. We'll unmute you. And you can ask your question and make sure that your question or comment is recorded. And I think we already have a hand up. Susan, I'm going to unmute you. Go ahead and select the unmute.
Thank you. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, we can.
Okay, nice, succinct. Yeah, it was a good presentation. And I appreciate that because I do need to leave soon. So it was enough to get for now. And then my quick question is, so the landowners that are north of Castro Valley Road, what is the impact to that landowner, the farmer, there's a house and a stand there. There's a stand on Castro Valley Road. It's the stand on Mesa Road that I'm concerned about, and the home that is there that is a rental property. Will that be impacted? Has the landowner been reached out yet by VTA as far as whether that's going to be eminent domain or what will happen there, please?
Thank you, Susan. From my understanding, I do know that this project is still finalizing its design, but I'm going to turn that question, defer it to Carson. Carson?
Yeah, thanks, David. I could probably, if I could share the screen, I could probably slap up the display of the project just for reference. Let me try to do that. Would you allow me to share the screen? Okay, there we go.
Yeah, you should be able to.
Okay. So hopefully you can see that.
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay, so you're asking about specifically impacts on Castro Valley Road and
Well,
Mesa Road?
Mesa Road more specifically. Castro Valley Road has a fruit stand right at, obviously, 101 in Castro Valley Road. That is not the piece I am as concerned about. It's the landowner that has the house and a stand that is off Mesa Road. So you're saying access through Mesa Road will be shut down, and that's, I understand that. Right now, the only way to reach that property, to reach that stand, is actually from 101. But so what happens is, obviously it backs up. It's very extremely dangerous, and I imagine that area just south of Mesa Road with the new ramp is going to be widened. So that's actually piece one. And then if that happens, again, there's a rental property besides the stand that, because you've got, what's it called, how far back off the road you need to be as well. So that's my concern, the area basically where your ramp, basically from Mesa Road south, how your ramp is going to impact that area. Obviously, Castro Valley is going to be impacted. So
Sure.
I'm concerned a little bit more north, let's just say right about at Mesa Road. Okay.
Thanks for the question. Yeah, so as David mentioned, the project is still in design, so we're still finalizing details. And I would just say in general, as far as contacting property owners, that's going to be a separate process that VTA will be engaging in with any affected landowners, and that'll be happening after this meeting once the design is finalized. So with that said, I could talk about, so southbound 101, south of Mesa, there's not really going to be any change to 101 itself until you get just north of Castro Valley Road. So there'll be no changes to 101, essentially from Mesa Road to, I don't know, say 500 feet north of Castro Valley Road. So there are no changes on 101 there. So the little segment of Mesa Road, where we're proposing a cul-de-sac, there'll be no access between there and 101, but I don't think there's any businesses. It's just farm fields there. And then, was that your main question? I'm sorry, I didn't understand if you want some more clear feedback on Castro Valley Road as well.
That does answer it. But again, I'm concerned about the farm property there south of Mesa, and also because there's a rental home there. There's a rental home and the stand between Mesa and Castro Valley.
Okay.
So that's why, but you kind of answered it when you said 500 feet south of Mesa Road is where the impact will begin.
I'm just guesstimating here, but anywhere from 500 to 1,000 feet north of Castro Valley Road, that's where there'll be slight changes to 101, but once you go north of that, there won't be any impacts to 101 up to Mesa Road and to the north. Okay, hopefully I answered that.
Yeah, thank you, Susan. If there's any other questions, a reminder, just go ahead and click the raise hand. I do apologize. We do not have the Q&A type in. We're going to try and figure that out to make sure that is available at the next public meetings. If you are dialed in to this meeting, you just need to select *9, and that'll indicate your hand is raised so you can make a comment or question. Stephen, I'm going to unmute you.
How's that? Am I coming through now?
There you go, Stephen. Yep.
Oh, perfect. Okay. I've got 3 questions. When Santa Teresa Boulevard is constructed in the future, when the funding's acquired, is it possible that it will be a single separate project, like say in 3 years, 4 years, or is it going to be combined with a future larger phase? So that's first question.
Maybe I can answer that right now because I might forget your other ones.
You want to hit them one at a time?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
I kind of forget things more than a couple. So the Santa Teresa Boulevard extension, that will be a separate project from the phase 1 interchange project, and it more than likely would be its own separate project. That's the goal, at least. VTA is trying to secure funding to accelerate that project only. So it would provide connectivity between Santa Teresa Boulevard directly to the 10125 interchange.
Oh, perfect. Okay. Second one, I have to tell you, I haven't noticed bicycles near there on 101, so I'm just going to go by my memory. I thought 101 was a freeway up to maybe Monterey Road, and then from Monterey Road forward in a southern direction, it's, I guess, a highway, and that's why bicycles are allowed on 101, and you're trying to make it, and I understand you're trying to make it safer, but it seems like it's inviting bicycle traffic in an unsafe area. No, I mean, I just, again, not having seen bicycles there, I'm surprised to, see the effort to make all the bicycle lanes around there.
Sure. Yeah. So to answer the first part of that, 101 is technically an expressway, not a freeway. From this area south, I think just north of Coronadero Creek, because essentially there are driveways and roads that access 101, so it's not a freeway.
Right.
So in the future, it will be upgraded to a freeway, which won't allow any bicyclists. But today, bicyclists are allowed on the shoulders of US 101 because there are no other parallel routes. So that's just the way it is today. As far as improving safety for bicyclists, actually, this project would encourage bicyclists to get off of 101 in this area. So today, anybody, there's a bicyclist say coming down Santa Teresa Boulevard, Castro Valley Road, and they want to get to the 10125 interchange today, they basically have to go down and get onto the shoulder of 101 and then exit the existing southbound off-ramp. So they have to actually ride on a segment of 101. And likewise, bicyclists going up 25, if they didn't go up Bolsa further to the east, and they're riding through here and they wanted to go north, they would either have to go onto the northbound on-ramp and ride on the shoulder up to, say, Monterey, or I've heard reports of this, they could actually cross over the existing overcrossing and go the wrong way down the off-ramp in order to get to Castro Valley Road. So by providing these access points, especially that separated two-way bike path, it really would encourage any bicyclists that do go through here to get off of 101 in this area.
Okay. And then lastly, let's see here. It's involved with the 101 widening, in the future. The first phase is going to have doubling of the off-ramp, for stacking up cars coming in the southbound direction and taking 25 to Hollister. Yeah, I mean, it seems like that's going to help prevent the stacking up on 101, but the first phase, there won't be any increase in the number of lanes in that vicinity. So when is it expected that the widening of 101 from Monterey Road interchange all the way down to 129, is that in the distant future or the imminent future? The imminent future, what do we have just a rough idea on that?
Yeah, I can tell you that there's no identified funding for widening 101 to a freeway. So that's probably, likely in the medium to distant future.
Distant future, yeah.
Yeah, so as far as the southbound 101 off-ramp, I can tell you that the phase one project, it significantly extends the length of the off-ramp. It makes it from a single to a double lane, and there's more capacity on State Route 25 up to the railroad tracks. So between all that, that will basically reduce any backup onto the main line for the life of the project, which Caltrans typically requires a 20-year design horizon for any project. So say from 2025 to 2045, essentially it would eliminate any major backup back onto southbound 101 just by implementing the phase one project.
And then the two stoplights that are going to be part of the phase one, those are intended to be, I'm pretty sure, permanent.
Those are permanent signalized intersections until the ultimate is built. Actually, the southbound ramps intersection will pretty much stay the same. Those signals would stay, except when they build the Santa Teresa extension, that would stay. The southbound ramps intersection is basically getting reconfigured. there'll be a much bigger loop ramp that goes here, and then a new diagonal on-ramp. But that's intersection will be also signalized in the future. And the two signals will be coordinated, to optimize traffic flow.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Thank you, Stephen. And as a side note, as a Morgan Hill resident, I know all too well the congestion you're speaking of, and I'm glad to be part of this project. So I can see that effort through. So if we have any other questions, oh, okay, we have a hand. Marvin, I'm going to unmute you. Go ahead, just accept the unmute, Marvin.
Yeah, my comments are more of a positive state of appreciation for having a plan to finish this project. We were around when Dublin College was built, and I'm an avid bicyclist, really interested in what you had to say about the bicycling. I'm 90, but retired from that, but especially grateful that you plan to continue the finishing project to connect up 25 onto Santa Teresa so that people going to and from Watsonville to Hollister can go through and bypass going through downtown Gilroy. So I'm highly in favor of your project, and I congratulate you on everything that you've done. Thank you.
Thank you, Marvin. And Jimmy, go ahead and accept the unmute.
Hello. I actually live on Monterey Frontage Road, right by Monterey Street and 101. And you talk about this off-ramp and the backing up of the traffic. Has anybody considered, the 3-lane reduction to 2-lane to a highway? I see this almost every day in the afternoon. One of the big problems on 101 trying to get to 25 is people don't know how to merge. They try to get into the slow lane, cut back into the slow, from the on-ramp lane into the slow lane, backing up the traffic all the way back to 10th Street. You have to be recognizant of what people are doing, trying to either go to Salinas or Hollister, because on the other side of the highway from me, on the Balsa Road, especially on Fridays, and with these smartphones now, people use the tool to try to get around this area between Monterey Street and 25. So what you're suggesting, you're going to take off more traffic rather than get on the shoulder of the road on these 2 lanes. But your bigger problem is going from the 3-lane to the 2-lane, because you have the volume. It's like, looking through a funnel. You're trying to get this volume to a smaller hole. And you're trying to resolve on the other end to get the cars off the shoulder onto 25, because what they're doing at 25, people are stopping at the top and letting the people going south to South 101 to go by as a courtesy. And that's why it initiates the backup. So now you're going to put more cars on there. You're going to control it with lights, but then you have back there where the 3 lanes go to the 2-lane. So you're going to resolve some of this congestion, but it gets back to this common courtesy that people don't have today when they're driving. They don't know how to merge. So.
Thank you, Jimmy.
Yeah, just consider that point, because Fridays is the worst. I live there, me and my neighbor, I have 3 acres fronting the highway on a frontage road. My neighbor just has another 3.5 acres adjacent to me. And we sit there and look at the people and all this traffic. I've even had an instance where on the on-ramp off of Monterey Street onto 101, people cut all the way over to the on-ramp to get 1 or 2 cars ahead. And that's what backs it up. So you're attacking one of the issues, and I understand there's a safety issue there. But if you're really after relieving this traffic, you have to look just beyond Castro Valley Road. Or what you're doing is you're not resolving the problem.
Jimmy, you're right. I mean, we're building the phase 1 project. We would like to build more. We'd like to build the ultimate interchange that would basically fix everything. But because of funding, we're just building what we can right now and kind of laying the groundwork for the next phases that will address these. But you're right, on southbound 101 at Monterey Road, there's a bottleneck there because 101 goes from 3 lanes down to 2 lanes, and there's a big backup, and there's an on-ramp there. So this project does not address that one, but it's laying the groundwork for in the future. When 101 gets widened, that would address it, and also the Santa Teresa extension. Between the Santa Teresa extension and the phase 1 project, we anticipate this project would probably direct more traffic through this 10125 interchange and hopefully reduce cut-throughs on Bolsa Road that you mentioned.
Thank you, Jimmy. Thank you, Carson. Bob, I'm unmuting you. Go ahead and accept the mute.
Good evening. I want to thank you for a good presentation. I did send 2 questions in to Mr. Lovato. One has been addressed, but one has not even been addressed. If I'm going north on 101 coming from Salinas and I want to go east on 25, wouldn't it be much simpler to run the exit route as a sweeping right-hand simple exit and merge onto 25 rather than going under the new bridge, coming to a new intersection, and then having some kind of a controlled intersection to put those people onto eastbound 25? It would seem traffic would flow much better and you would not need a controlled intersection of any kind at that proposed junction. Now, that's my first question.
Carson, do you want to?
Yeah. So I think the way I understand is what you're saying is instead of having the northbound off-ramp go underneath 25 and loop around up to here, why don't we just have it sneak around on the south side and connect directly onto State Route 25 going east?
That is correct.
Okay. We did actually look at different alternatives. We looked at putting these on the south side. I think we actually even looked at the proposal that you mentioned, but we ended up settling on this for a number of reasons. So this site here, the Bloomfield Ranch, is a historic property, and you have Gavilan Creek here, neither of which can be impacted based on the environmental impact report. So we were basically constrained. We couldn't really build anything through here. But at the same time, we also want to extend the off-ramp to make it longer and safer, before that first curve. So we're basically constrained to position that off-ramp where it's located now. So, if we move this overcrossing further to the north, that would have had much bigger right-of-way impacts. So that's just one consideration. Another one is if that ramp were to go on the south side and then try to merge in. So we have 2 lanes that are needed through here. So if that 3rd lane came in, we would have a difficulty trying to bring it in and merge it down to a single lane before the railroad tracks. So that's just like a simple merge issue. We don't think we had room for that. And lastly, from a staging perspective, when we're building this project, there's a certain order that this has to go in to make it work. So by building a ramp kind of in that south area, that's where the existing State Route 25 goes up and over like in a large amount of embankment fill. But that overcrossing has to remain in operation until the main overcrossing and the other ramps are built. So it would have been really a nightmare to build this thing if we had a ramp in that area. So it's kind of a combination of all those different 3 factors that led us to this configuration that you see today.
Thank you very much for explaining that. Does that have a lifespan? In other words, as traffic builds up in the next 10, 20 years, do you see that intersection becoming more congested, or do you think it'll handle the next 20, 25 years worth of traffic flow?
The north
one right there. Yes, sir.
Okay. Yeah, so we are required to, with the traffic study that's currently underway, we're required to study out 20 years of the future. And yes, traffic will be increasing over the years, but we think the way the lanes are configured and the traffic signals will be coordinated, that it will be able to handle the traffic there. I don't know, Shadi, do you have any more input on that as far as any specifics on traffics or how?
No, you covered it, Carson. That's correct. We supposed to study the project for 20-year design life and evaluate the operation of that particular signal and any backup from that signal for that northbound traffic. Acts on the analysis we've done to date. It looks like we have enough storage capacity and the signal would operate well for the design years of this phase one. And the ultimate, eventually, when 101 gets widened to 3 lanes, we have a bigger loop at this location with more lanes to accommodate projections of traffic beyond that 20-year design life of the phase one.
Very well. Thank you for that question. My second question is one that just came up from tonight's discussion. In the interim period, when you close down Castro Valley and Mesa, so no one can get on Santa Teresa and get on 101 from there, you're going to send them down to Thomas Road, where they will then have to turn off of Santa Teresa onto Thomas Road, go down Thomas to the roundabout and cross a very narrow bridge. Then they'll go through La Chesa Avenue, which is more of a neighborhood, to get back onto Monterey and get back onto 101 going south. Now, I assume that will all go away once the Castro Valley blockage is opened and you go down Santa Teresa, curve over to 25. That will probably all go away. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct. So we're hopefully viewing this as a relatively temporary situation while the phase one project is being constructed. The traffic will be routing from Santa Teresa to Thomas La Chesa at Monterey Road. That's why VTA has the urgency of trying to get that Santa Teresa extension project, under development, under design, so that we can implement that as soon as we can with any available funding we can get.
Okay, I appreciate that. So it is a temporary, I'll say, bypass until you get that connection completed.
Right, until Santa Teresa extension is completed from.
Is there any money in the budget to widen the narrow 1 lane each direction bridge going over the creek there at La Chesa Thomas interconnection?
Right, yeah, we had a meeting with the city of Gilroy and we did discuss that. All that, of course, is in the city of Gilroy city limits. So I think they may have some plans to widen that in the future. I don't really know any details about that, but since this is a relatively, hopefully, temporary condition, once the Santa Teresa extension is built, that would relieve any extra congestion up there.
Okay, so there's no money in the VTA to widen the bridge. That would fall on Gilroy entirely, or would it be a shared cost?
Yeah, I believe, I don't want to speak for Gary and others, the city. I believe the city is looking at implementing that maybe through traffic impact fees, but primarily through city fees. But VTA for the Santa Teresa extension, we're trying to set aside some Measure B funding that VTA generates to help implement the Santa Teresa extension. So yeah, essentially VTA with any hopefully federal state funding that we can secure would implement the Santa Teresa extension, but VTA would likely not be funding any improvements in the city of Gilroy.
All right, you've made that clear. All right, very good. I understand where we're going on this. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I'll figure out how to.
David will take care of you.
Thank you, Mr. Weaver. You have my email, yes. Again, I apologize. There is no Q&A option where we were trying to figure out why, and we didn't want to prolong starting the meeting. So an option to engage and talk to our panelists is only by raising your hand. So if you select the raise hand option, we can get your comment on record or a question we can answer in person. If you're dialing in to this meeting, just hit *9 and that'll raise your hand and we can unmute you. I also want to remind everybody that, we talked about a lot of future projects at the extension of Santa Teresa Road. I encourage you to subscribe to this project because you will automatically be rolled in once that project is funded, and go ahead, you'll be part of that project update. So again, just make sure that you are a subscriber to this project so that you're aware when we move forward with those future Santa Teresa Boulevard extensions and any other updates to this particular project. And I'm not seeing any more hands. And what I wanted to remind everybody is this recording is going to be posted on the project webpage. As subscribers, you're going to get an email so that you can watch it to your leisure. And if you have any other questions that come up, I'll make sure to leave the community outreach contact information, and also the project webpage has the community outreach email and phone number that you can forward those questions to. Susan, I see your hand up again. I'm going to go ahead and unmute you.
Thank you. I would never ask again, but since there were no other speakers, quick question, confirming what I heard from the other speakers. It will be a 2-lane on-ramp from heading southbound. Is that correct? Is that what I heard? It's going to be a 2-lane on-ramp, off-ramp, I guess that would be, to the 25 interchange. Yeah. Is it 2-lane?
Carson, you're on mute.
Thank you. Yeah, so specifically for the off-ramp, southbound 101 off-ramp.
Yes, off-ramp.
It would exit as a single lane, but shortly thereafter it would widen to double lanes and remain double lane all the way to State Route 25.
Huh. All right. Doesn't seem like that would solve the problem very much, but okay. And then also because of, is Mesa Road going to remain closed? I heard Bob ask about Castro Valley. Will Mesa Road stay closed, or will that reopen as well?
It would stay closed permanently.
That's what I thought I had understood. Okay, I thank you guys very much.
Stephen, go ahead and unmute yourself.
Okay, sorry, I just heard about the 2 lanes on the off-ramp. So when you come to the stoplight, then the overpass is going to be a 4-lane overpass. I mean, it kind of explain the 2-lane off-ramp going to the stop, to this area in here. Since the Santa Teresa connector won't be in place, it seems that if there's only 2 lanes on the interchange here in the first phase, where the 2 lanes, where's 1 lane going to go? You know what I'm saying? If there's 2 lanes, a total of 4 lanes on the interchange, it makes sense that you can have 2 lanes making a left-hand turn onto 25. But if there's only 1 lane in either direction, then what happens to the second lane on the off-ramp?
So you're correct. Southbound off-ramp does have 2 lanes, and both the right lane can essentially make a left turn onto State Route 25 east, or it can continue south back onto the on-ramp.
Oh, okay.
And then the left lane from the off-ramp is a left turn only that would turn onto also eastbound 25. So the State Route 25 eastbound, it has 2 lanes receiving. So that would remain 2 lanes until just south of the northbound ramps intersection. Then it would merge back down to 1 lane.
It seems like it's going to be an interesting cat and mouse game, racing for the stoplight. You know what I'm getting at? When you have 2 lanes heading for a 1 lane ending, it just sounds like it's going to be kind of confusing for the vehicles to make a last minute decision there. But anyway, thanks for the answer. Appreciate it.
Sure.
Thank you, Carson. Thank you, Stephen. I also wanted to remind folks in the audience that if you have an HOA or a neighborhood association and would like to invite Carson and myself and any other project team members to guest speak at any of your pre-scheduled meetings, please reach out to me, reach out to community outreach, and we can definitely do that. I think now that we've switched a lot to virtual meetings, it's become much more easier for us as a project team to be remote and attend those meetings. Eventually, we are looking at in-person, perhaps during our construction kickoff. It can be not only virtual, but we can have an in-person. Can't guarantee that, but it is something that we can look forward to. So I just want to make sure I threw that offer up there, that if you have those pre-meetings scheduled with your neighborhood, we're more than willing to attend those as well and give an overview. And I don't see any hands up, and we don't want to just prolong the meeting if we don't have to. I want to remind everybody, if questions, comments come up later on, you can reach out to us, and it'll be my responsibility to make sure our project team can respond to that in a timely manner. I want to thank our panelists for taking the time to remind the public that this project exists, and we want to encourage everybody to subscribe so that you get those project updates. Thank you to our audience for attending. Hopefully everyone got as much information as possible of what the project looks like so far, and we'll keep you updated as it progresses. Of the final design is completed, addendums are ready for review, and we invite you back for the construction kickoff. So with that, we're going to go ahead and end the meeting. I want to thank everybody again. You guys have a good night. Thank you.